All right, so I'm going to show you a video in just a moment. And my singular question for you is, what do you think is happening in this video? I'm not going to say anything. Take a look and watch.
Don't touch it!
She born in here.
Don't touch her!
And also she have a...
If you
She
touch
have
her,
autism.
you're gonna have problems. More than welcome to come pick her up. No. Look!
All right, so what do you think you just saw? Put it down in the comments, right? Put it down in the comments below before I continue. What do you think you just saw? Because when I first saw this video, I put together a pretty obvious and pretty plain story. To me, when I first saw this video, it looked like that these were a bunch of ICE agents and that this is a little girl who, doesn't seem kidnapped, but she certainly seems to be in their custody. And the people recording are probably her parents or family. They said she's born here, don't touch her. Come take a look at our ID cards, and it's just a bunch of this dude and these guys just saying, come out here, come out of your house and we'll check your IDs. Don't worry about your daughter that we're holding hostage. I saw this video, and like a normal, rational human being, there's a big issue recently of people thinking that having emotions makes a person less reasonable. This makes me emotional. This makes me angry. This makes me scared. This makes me frustrated for people. It makes me feel like I'm watching someone's daughter be kidnapped or held hostage, because that's what's happening in front of me. But I became very interested in this particular video. You know what this genre of video is. This is an ICE police interaction video of ICE. Listen, the matter of fact is that they're looking for the person recording, the parents recording. They're holding their legally born daughter and trying to get them out of the house. But the story is far more complicated than that. It is so complicated, in fact, that I dedicated hours of my time to researching this exact story as deeply as I possibly could to get to the true, absolute core of what is happening here. And the matter of fact is that it might be arguable that me saying that they're holding her hostage is a bit hyperbolic. Because they didn't hunt this girl down. They hunted her father down and then used her after he bailed. So here's what we're going to do. This is my 6-page long media literacy, high school English class, checking if a source is good or not document. And here's how I approached it. I looked up this video, and what we just watched it from is the video from the Boston Globe. But I looked up this video's headline and different versions of it on DuckDuckGo. I actually don't use Google that much anymore, but I looked it up on a search engine, and I just went in like a normal kind of random person. I looked for websites that looked like they were giving me the story I was looking for, not in confirming my bias, but the same story of this 5-year-old girl with autism who was held by ICE while her parents, who were in the middle of an asylum proceeding and therefore not fully legal citizens, were inside the house trying not to be themselves kidnapped. I looked up this story, and I believe I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I found 9 articles on this, just a video. And I did my absolute best to find where the genuine truth is, and to do just a little bit of that critical thinking and journalistic work of figuring out what the objective reality here is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the sources in the same order that I found them and in the same order that I read them, and it's going to follow the same format. And you can read it. The notes are really just kind of my own notes, but there are things I want to tell you about each story. First up, I immediately found that the parents must have submitted their video to a station called Telemundo Nueva Inglaterra, which I think is just TV New England, because I think these guys are like near Boston or something. I read through this original case, and I pulled a couple of quotes out, and I checked to see if the article was written with AI. This is the original article. I'm not going to read it word for word, and I did translate it automatically, but there were a couple of mistranslations that I actually turned translation off and verified myself with my Spanish literacy to understand the meaning of. It's a this particular article on the topic is pretty neutral. Okay, it's kind of describing what's going on. Apparently, mom was somewhere else. Dad was driving the car with his daughter in the car, and he noticed he was being followed. And according to this story, he drove home. He then jumped out of the car and left his daughter in the back and ran for their home's parking lot to get inside, and he did get inside. He's from Guatemala. I don't know where his wife is from, but his kids are both U.S. born. They're both thereby American citizens, according to the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. The details of what led up to the video we just watched, this video of the little girl being held hostage, detained, held, watched over, supervised by ICE. There are all kinds of different words that articles are using for this. What led up to that was not particularly clear in this particular story. But here are a couple of translated direct quotes from Telemundo Nueva Inglaterra's story on this. They said, her husband, Edward Hit Mejia, drove home and managed to run back to the parking lot of my house. His wife said, as a result, his daughter was taken into custody by the agents. Hit Mejia is originally from Guatemala and has lived in the United States for 25 years. According to his wife, the couple have 2 children born in the country. So this is a dude who has been here since before 9/11, working in this country. And for every article I'm going to talk to you about today, as we try to get the fullest picture we can of this story, I checked it with an AI checker called Originality.ai. And when it flags something as AI, I checked it a few times more to make sure that I wasn't just tweaking and it was just, it was just a mishap. I verified. In this case, it said that this article looks original. Makes sense. Telemundo said that the family submitted the video to them. And notably, I'm also going to be checking the background and media bias of each of these outlets as I talk about them. I believe Telemundo is owned by an umbrella of NBC. So center-left lean and generally authoritative and factual, but not perfectly. But this was a real article written by a person, and that is what they said about the case. Okay, then I moved on to the Independent, which is an England, United Kingdom-based outlet. I checked their media bias fact checker, and they have a left-center bias. They are mostly factual, in the same tier as Telemundo Nueva. This article takes to talking about what the family reported by saying the family says their daughter, who was 5, was held outside of their home by ICE agents as a part of an attempt to arrest her father. That's what they're saying. And this particular article takes the position of just kind of giving the family's report a voice, and talking less about maybe objective facts. They're talking more about things reported by the family who was affected here themselves. So a quote from them: the family has an active asylum claim and has 2 children born in the U.S. This incident occurred in the community of Leominster, around 50 miles west of Boston. In the footage, Edward Hip, a Guatemalan man who has lived in America for 22 years, is apparently told to show his ID to the officers in return for the girl. Okay, the first thing that tipped me off was that they got the 22 years wrong instead of saying 25, even though the previous article said that he was been here for 25 years. Maybe that was a little error. Until I checked this article with Originality.ai, it says it's 90% confident that this article from The Independent was written with AI. And then I checked it again with another AI checker called Just Done. And guess what? It also said it was 90+% likely that that article was AI. So I'm not looking at this article anymore, and I'm moving on until I find something more authoritative. Okay, how about this? Let's move on to the Boston Globe, and their website is boston.com. They are very authoritative and factual, and they are also center-left. They're not left, they're just center-left. My personal summary of their story, I feel as if the Boston Globe put in more work than even Telemundo Nueva Inglaterra, the New England Spanish-speaking station, who got the video submitted to them. It's my feeling that the Boston Globe's reporters and photojournalists went deeper in and gave us some really good insights here as we continue to build our understanding of what really happened. Fact check shows, the media bias chart shows that this is a very neutral and factual station. This one, again, does this thing where it says what the party reported, as if what the party is reporting is objective fact, which I personally don't think they have any reason to lie. But now they're using their lawyer, who used the word lure as if the child was being used as a lure to get her father out of their house. This is the only story, the only article of these 9 that actually explains the context of what led to this video in totality. So let's read some of these direct quotes and try to understand it. Edward Hips, originally from Guatemala, has been in the country since 2000, Geller said. Hip has been in deportation proceedings for about 5 years after a previous asylum request. So this is someone who is trying to do it correctly. Geller said before ICE followed his car where his home is located. So again, this is the Boston Globe saying, Hip was driving his daughter to a medical appointment when he noticed some suspicious blacked out windowed vehicle and turned around because he was concerned about it. He called his wife. He rolled down the window for his daughter, who is an American citizen, and ran inside to the house and left his car outside. And he called the police. He called the police. This is a piece of the story that's extremely relevant. Hip as well as his wife were both facing charges related to a domestic fight they had in the district court in 2024, according to court records. All these charges were dropped. People were pressing this family on like, you guys are criminals, but they had a domestic dispute. And when a domestic dispute, especially involving a man and a woman, happens, a married couple, if the charges are dropped on both parties, that is because it was a mutual fight. Families have fights sometimes. So the AI checker, what does it say about the Boston Globe, which seems very authoritative on this subject and actually went out of their way to contact the family and send a photojournalist to get a family of the daughter here. That is her picture there, the daughter of Edward. So I think this is one of the best articles so far. And originality.ai says it's 100% original. And then I checked it again, and everything I kept seeing was like, this is 98, 95% original. There's no AI. We are 100% certain that it's original, and in less than 2% of this even looks like it's AI. Okay, then I went on to NBC's story for this topic. NBC's story ended up being a bit controversial. They said that a video shows ICE with a 5-year-old girl while agents attempt to arrest her father. It's a very light title. It focuses mostly on just rehashing the video. They say that ICE was with the daughter. The article is actually very short, and essentially NBC is just rehashing what Telemundo told them because Telemundo is under their umbrella. One of their quotes says that her husband, Edward Hip Mejia, drove home and managed to run back into the parking lot of my house, and her daughter, as a result, was left with the agents. Originality believes that the NBC article is 100% original, written by a human being. And then I checked NBC Boston, and then I learned that NBC Boston is just reporting the exact same article, just for the local station. I'm dumb. So really, there's just kind of 8 articles here. And then I checked something called The Federalist, and I regretted that deeply because while researching, I had to look up the media bias of these different articles. And Jesus Christ, you can check the media bias. You know what? I'll just pull it up real quick. Why not? The media bias chart for The Federalist is one of the worst ones I have ever seen in my entire life. How do you even get the arrow this fucking far over? How do you get this far to extreme without being a terrorist organization? How do you do that? And then obviously, unsurprisingly, their factuality, their degree of veracity, of authoritativeness and correctness is low. It's mixed, in the mixed range. So they're a questionable source. But hey, let's read their article anyway. So their article was just full-on propaganda. It was commentary. It was just nothing but a slash piece. It felt like they wanted to kill these immigrants. It felt like they hate brown people. Like they just felt like talking to your racist uncle. It was terrible. This entire article talking about how like the NBC is lying. The ICE did not hold this daughter. She was abandoned. Her dad pulled up into her driveway, went into the house to call the police, and left her in the car. That's like normal suburban behavior for everybody. And so the Federalist is just like, these evil immigrants who had a domestic dispute a few years ago, they're evil and they abandoned their daughter. It's just evil. This is like written by just the worst kind of person. And then I checked theirs, and crazy enough, they're 100% original too. So this is someone who is in the game for the sake of the game. They just like being a terrible person. And they wrote this shit by hand. So props to them for being terrible in an honest way. A direct quote from them mentions NBC News' coverage. saying that they wrote that Immigration and Customs Enforcement held a 5-year-old autistic girl outside her Massachusetts home to pressure her father to surrender to authorities last week, according to the girl's family. And the Federalist is quoting NBC in this context that I pulled it from to be like, look at how evil their propaganda is. That was awful, but kind of interesting to see it was 100% handwritten by an authentic OG bigot Nazi. Isn't that crazy? Then I found a website called Newslink Live, which just feels like one of these websites you could run into anywhere online and expect it to be kind of legit, and it's not. This summary of it focuses mostly on the police response that was taking place. The local police department responded separately from federal agents, and they actually returned the daughter to the family, which is what the federal agents were refusing to do, which is let them have their daughter without having to step out of their house, and thereby allow themselves to be kidnapped. This everything I've checked says that like this isn't just written with AI. This entire damn article is AI. So this is let me see, where is it? Newslinklive.com, which I should have known based on the other context clues. But it said that this entire article felt like it was written by AI, and I checked it a few times with other things, and that's what it said. So this is essentially just, I imagine someone taking other people's reporting, throwing it through an AI, and making it spit out a new story. Absolute garbage. We're going to ignore it. WCVB, however, is a branch of ABC, if I recall. Yeah, you can see just above my head on the video. It's an ABC sub-umbrella, whatever, right? Their title is Homeland Security Denies Using Child as Bait. Family Shares Video of Incident to the Contrary. So, for them, when I looked up them on the media bias chart, it says that they're highly credible, and possibly the most centered of all the articles I looked at today. Very center, very neutral politically. The story, interestingly, focuses a lot less on the politics of like partisanship and focuses a lot more on the politics of harm. They talked a lot about how the daughter was hurt by this, was emotionally traumatized, how it's bad for the family. Saying in a couple of quotes, Mejia's wife, who asked not to be identified, said agents were taunting him at the expense of their child. How do you explain something like this to a 5-year-old? It's not easy, and sometimes she says she doesn't find the good words to talk with her. She said the child is now in therapy to help process the event. The father, who has been in the country for 24 years, so maybe it's a rounding situation, and he's actually been here 25, he did ultimately get detained by ICE and is being held in Plymouth. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the local police department, who responded after the father called them while ICE was chasing him, confirmed that they received a 911 call from him, who reported that he was being hunted by people, because he was. Then they got, I guess, a call from ICE requesting help with the child. The department said officers responded to remove the kid professionally as they could. Originality.ai says that this article was pretty much definitely written by someone from WCVB or ABC. This article producer, it was written by a person. Okay, and it reads like it too. It actually very much reads like it was written by a human being. And then, just for the hell of it, I decided to throw in because technically Fox isn't news, they're entertainment, according to that giant lawsuit. They're not news, they're edutainment, infotainment at best. They're just shitty commentary. They're terrible, awful propagandists. The Federalists are clearly too. But you know what? I pulled up their story anyway. All right, let's see what Fox News has to say about this story. DHS rejects the NBC's report claiming ICE used a turnoff. Claiming that ICE used a girl as bait to arrest their father, but they did. Half of this article from Fox News is literally just them being like, the lady that runs the what is her name? Tricia McLaughlin from Ohio, apparently. I'm so sorry for what Ohio has done. I apologize as a fellow Ohioan. I forget what she is. She's some sort of secretary for Department of Homeland Security or something. Let me see if I can find it real quick. What is this? DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. She made a freaking X post. I will move myself out of the way so you can see this better. She made an X post and said, "Absolutely not. ICE agents never used a 5-year-old girl as bait. What a disgusting smear. The criminal illegal alien target with previous arrests for domestic abuse, among other charges, abandoned his own child in the car." Yeah, I'm not reading the rest of her terrible spewing of just utter propaganda. So here we are. The video is now 20 minutes long. This is what it takes to get a clear picture of anything that is happening nowadays. And here is my understanding of the story as it actually is. This is what my objective reality is after reviewing all 9 or 8 of these articles, checking their media bias, corroborating their data. I believe a dude who moved to the US before 9/11 has a 5-year-old daughter. He was taking her to a doctor's appointment before he noticed he was clearly being followed by creepy-ass cars. They may or may not have turned their lights on to do a traffic stop, but you can't believe that nowadays. Anyone can put on reds and blues and just get away with it right now. So he, being a rational parent, runs home. His daughter is a U.S. citizen. She was born here. He knows that if anyone's after him, it's going to be people who are angry about the fact that he came here 25 years ago and has been contributing to the community and society since then and paying taxes. So he knows his daughter is a U.S. citizen. He knows that they're after him because his asylum case hasn't gone through in the way that they would like it to. And so he doesn't worry because this guy assumes they're after him. And you have to understand that there is some commentary to be said that a lot of people do trust authority. A lot of people trust the police. A lot of these people, like this dude, didn't think ICE was going to hurt his daughter. He did not abandon her. He lives in a suburb and assumed it was fine to leave her in the car while he went inside to make this freaking phone call. And guess who he called? He called the police because he thought they would help him because he trusts authority. So no, the dude did not abandon his kid. He left her in the car and went inside, and then they played the stupid game that they do where they know that they can't come into your house, so they're trying to trick him out. And they could have absolutely just let his daughter, who is 10 feet away, into their home, but they chose not to. Okay? Yeah, man, they held the girl hostage. They're everyone else is who is trying to choose their words carefully, saying they detained her, they held her, they were with her. Dude, they held her hostage. That's what actually happened. And then 2 days later, after all this, they arrested him, and now he's in a freaking ICE detention center somewhere. So this happened, and there are so many articles and so many outlets that can report on it, and it takes this much work. It takes this much work to really get a clear and objective understanding of what really happened. And the entire time you do it, you have to fight your way through AI slop to get a comprehension of what is happening. Lastly, I want to address a couple of stupid counter arguments. I want to bully some jerks real quick before they even get a word out. A lot of people are arguing, and they're like, how dare he abandon his daughter with those ICE agents? Hey, wait a minute, what's the issue? What's the issue with abandoning them with ICE agents? Those are the good guys, right? They're not going to hurt her. How is it abandonment if the ICE people are safe? Oh, well, he's using his daughter as a human shield. From what? From who? If she's the shield, then who in this frame that we're currently looking at are the swords? Huh? It has to be one or the other. It can't be both. The guy can't be like an evil, terrible, dangerous criminal and also like a useless sack of crap. He can't have been abandoning his daughter and also ICE be villains. The ICE can't be innocent, purely safe and trustworthy people and also this count as abandonment. It has to be one or the other. This is all just propaganda. You have to manually go out of your way and do this kind of work and actually put in the effort to verify what is and isn't real. And I think more than anything, the Fox and Federalist commentary about the daughter being abandoned is one of the greatest examples of saying the quiet part out loud that I have seen in forever. Because it's only abandonment if you believe the people she was left with are dangerous, and the ICE agents are, because they're just the Gestapo. Yeah, so I'll have this link down in the video below, in the description below. Be sure to check that out. If you like this video, be sure to like it. Get subscribed to see more of my work. Leave a comment down below. What did you think you actually saw? I'm just saying, we need to talk more about the fact that if like these guys didn't have badges, and these were just random dudes on the street, how would this have gone? What does that Second Amendment say about, a person's right? If a bunch of random people stood outside your door with your daughters and demanded you come outside and have a polite conversation with them while all of them had guns on their persons and they were standing around your daughter, would you feel good about that? And if they didn't have badges and you owned a firearm, would that Second Amendment suddenly sound really relevant to you? Just food for thought. Take care.